Albanian political parties at the dawn of political transition deal with analyzing four political party manifestos. Indeed, Albania was a latecomer in the 1929 wave of democratization in Europe, and Albania had a very short history of political pluralism. Throughout their history, Albania was under Ottoman Empire, followed by a nationalistic autocracy led by Ahmet Zogu, and then by a communist regime. All these regimes, a monoparty going to analyze the manifestos of four political parties: Party of Labour of Albania, Democratic Party of Albania, Albanian Republican Party Manifesto, and lastly, the Agrarian Party of Albania. These manifestos were created in the first pluralistic general election in Albania after the demise of 31 March 1991. The Labour Party of Albania was still an incumbent party, and data from the manifestos indicates that they were relatively brief compared to today's standards, with the Agrarian Party having the most extended manifesto, having the shortest one. This may also be due to their short political experience and time to prepare for election. We have to take in consideration that many of these parties were created just some months before this election, in January 91 or February 91. Only the Democratic Party was created in December 1990. So their time to prepare for this election was relatively short. The analysis follows two unit measures: code and theme. A code is the smallest unit, is a quasi-sentence on a specific topics. Over 90 codes categorize manifestos contents of this analysis. They often lean on the left or on the right of the political ideological spectrum. For example, a support for free markets indicates a right-leaning stance, while welfare expansion signals a left-leaning one. Some codes, like national way of life, right-leaning nationalism, while others depend on the context. There are broader categories, grouping codes and related codes, following the manifesto project scheme. The 7 themes that the codes are grouped are external relations, freedom and democracy, political system, economy, welfare and quality of life, fabric of society. These themes contain both left and right-leaning codes. However, a theme's prominence in a manifesto does not necessarily indicate a specific ideology. In the subsequent analysis, we'll report the 10 most used codes for each party and will rank the themes. The Labour Party most frequent code relates to political authority, typically linked to right-wing ideologies, but this code can also be found in extreme left parties. This was expected given the communist totalitarian rule for nearly 5 decades and their reliance on a glorious past to win the election of 1991. However, on the other side, their claim to authority seems unfounded considering the recent transition to a pluralist system and the collapse of communism. Despite this manifesto opens with the remark. It writes, "The history and the present gives the Labour Party the legitimate and the moral right to express its say and to call for the support of its candidates and the programs." This, indeed, reflects the party's continued self-perception as an Albanian leader, asserting moral superiority even as its regime ended. The second most common code is a favorable reference to the national way of life, another typically right-wing theme, indeed. The communists often portrayed their party and the nation as one and the same. The manifestos Dominant theme in the Labour Albanian Party is the economy. And we quote, "The Labour Manifesto economic program profoundly plans in recent new condition realization of its principal aims to which it is devoted. It's taking care of people, of their well-being, creation of necessary conditions for fulfillment of material and." The Democratic Party manifesto is the manifesto of the first opposition party in Albania after the communist demise. That party was created on December 1990 after the student protest against the communist regime. The most frequent code of this manifesto concerns agriculture and farmers. This reflects Albanian rural demographics of the time, with 67% of the population living in those areas. While often linked to right-wing ideology that this code requires usually, in 1990s Albania stems more from social and demographic factors rather than political ideology. The manifesto also includes rights-leaning economic codes, such as support for privatization, a free market, and economic orthodoxy. However, it also features self-leaning elements like welfare expansion. Theme in this manifesto is the groups followed by economy. In line with a right-wing stance, this manifesto states, taking all the urgent legal and economic measures for helping creation of small enterprises from individuals or groups in all economic spheres. At the time, indeed, Albania's economy was still state-controlled, with limited private enterprise only recently allowed. The second opposition party at the time was the Republican Party. The most frequent code of the manifesto of the Republican Party is agriculture and farmers, similar to the Democratic Party manifesto. And this also reflects the rural demographics. The second and the third most coded quasi-sentences are freedom and human rights, positive, and democracy, positive. This makes the most focused on rights and democracy among all the four parties we have analyzed. Beyond the social gaps theme, which is the dominant due to rural concerns, as we mentioned also in the Democratic Party manifesto, freedoms and democracy is the most coded themes here, surpassing even economic issues. In this regard, this manifesto quotes, "We will ensure the respecting of human rights and conformity with modern international conventions." Indeed, this strong emphasis on freedom and rights sets the Republican Party apart from other parties and, more importantly, apart from the Labour Party of Albania at the time. In the case of Agrarian Party, the most quoted quasi-sentence is agriculture and farmers, and this is the third case that this happens. But in the case of Agrarian parties, this is to be intuited from the parties' names. However, this party mentions other groups too in this second most coded topic. In this code, the Agrarian Party manifesto stress their focus not only on farmers or rural inhabitants, but also on ethnic minorities, elders, women and children. Also, we note that this party focuses on privatization of the economy, and it asserts that transferring ownership from the state to the individuals is crucial in overcoming the economic crisis. Also, in its 10 top codes, other topics are equality positives, and the protection of the environment that are not present in other parties' manifestos and are typical of center-left parties. Analyzing broader themes of the Agrarian Party manifesto, we realize that social group and economy are the two most frequent themes. However, essential themes are also freedom and democracy, welfare, and quality of life. The March 1991 election were Albania's fair pluralist election. The communist incumbents won, benefiting from superior resources and media coverage. Of the parties analyzed, the Republican Party focused most on democratic freedoms, followed by the Agrarian Party, while the Democratic and Labour parties prioritized the economy. The Labour Party had the fewest democracy-related codes and was the most authoritarian. Agriculture and farmers were the most quoted themes in the three parties, reflecting Albania's rural reality. The economy was the top theme for all, but for Republican Party, with the Labour Party emphasizing it the most. All the parties featured both left and right-leaning codes, with right-wing elements in the Labour Party and left-wing welfare codes in the Democratic Party.